Charlie. Have some fun. You can have B and C. Have you read Proclamation 5D and C? Sure. And that way you can call for the team to receive.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the City Commission meeting for the 13th day of May, 2024 at 6 p.m. You have a roll call by LaTonya Harris, Deputy City Clerk.
Commissioner Dollison.
Here.
Commissioner Mercer. Here. Commissioner Dantzler.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Yates.
Here.
And Mayor Bursong.
Here. Thank you. We will have the invocation by Dr. Steve Neckley of First Presbyterian Church, and we'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by LaTonya Harris, Deputy City Clerk. Please stand if able.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let us bow before God in prayer. Wonderful God, we start tonight by saying thank you for the rain that's come back to our area and the blessing that we receive this day. We also thank you for the people, the places, and the programs that make Winter Haven such a wonderful place to call home. God, we ask you to be with those who guard us and guide us as they dedicate their lives to public service and city government. We ask you to watch over those people this day. We ask you to watch over the places and the programs that will fill our community this summer and add to our quality of life. And most of all, God, we ask you to be with us this night. Guide those who are leading tonight. Be with the commission in their decisions and help them to look for the common good as they move forward, again, giving us this wonderful place to call home. For it's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
We have some proclamations.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. We have 4 items under presentations this evening that we will divide up amongst your administrative staff to present. Our first item is item 5A. This is a proclamation for National Safe Boating Week. I'm going to ask Flotilla Commander for Flotilla 77 of the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary, Mr. Gilbert Thomas, if he could come forward to accept the proclamation. I'll read it for you at this point. Whereas for over 100 million Americans, boating continues to be a popular recreational activity. From coast to coast and everywhere in between, people are taking to the water and enjoying time together boating, sailing, paddling, and fishing. During National Safe Boating Week, the U.S. Coast Guard and the National Safe Boating Council, along with federal, state, and local safe boating partners, encourage all boaters to explore and enjoy America's beautiful waters responsibly. And whereas safe boating begins with preparation, the Coast Guard estimates that human error accounts for most boating accidents and that life jackets could prevent nearly 75% of boating fatalities. Through basic boating safety procedures, carrying life-saving emergency distress and communications equipment, wearing life jackets, attending safe boating courses, participating in free boat safety checks, and staying sober when navigating, we can help ensure that boaters on America's coastal, inland, and offshore waters stay safe throughout the season. And whereas National Safe Boating Week is observed to bring attention to important life-saving tips for recreational boaters so that they can have a safer, more fun experience out on the water throughout the year. And whereas on average 650 people die each year in boating-related accidents in the United States, and 75% of these are fatalities caused by drowning. And whereas the vast majority of these accidents are caused by human error or poor judgment and not by the boat, equipment, or environmental factors. And whereas a significant number of boaters who lose their lives by drowning each year would be alive today had they worn their life jackets. Now therefore, Nathaniel J. Birdsong Jr., Mayor of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, does hereby proclaim May 20th through the 26th of 2024 as National Safe Boating Week in the City of Winter Haven and urges all citizens to support the goals of the Safe Boating Campaign and the start of the year-round effort to promote safe boating. Also to urge all those who boat to practice safe boating habits and wear a life jacket at all times while boating. In witness whereof he is hereunto set his hand and caused the seal of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, to be affixed this 13th day of May, 2024.
I thank the mayor and the commissioners of Winter Haven and the hospitality that they have exceedingly laid upon the Coast Guard Auxiliary and their help in establishing a flotilla here 8 years ago. In these 8 years, I've been here 8 times. And in those 8 years, nothing has changed about drowning. We had 636 deaths on the water last year. 75% of those fatalities were drowning. But the startling fact is 85% did not wear a life jacket. In fact, I spent a lot of time on the water, and I used to photograph boats. Now, the only boats I really photograph are the ones that are wearing a life jacket because it's so seldomly that I see one. So I thought that would be an interesting case to see how many I can see with life jackets. But another thing that's showing up, and I've been saying it for a long time, is education. Now, I get this deal from people, I've been boating for 30 years or 40 years or 20 years, and I know what I'm doing. But if we get down to the statistics of that, it belays it because we find that most of the accidents that they blame on all the teenagers are really a bad group. I'm going to tell you that much about it. But they're only worth 24% of all the accidents that happen out of there on the water. It's not the teenagers. The other 76% are people from the age 35 through 65 who know everything about boating. You know, if that was the case, I wouldn't have gone to 5 schools this year just to keep up with the laws that are changing and the equipment changes that we have to monitor. And it's come to the state's attention, and for whatever reason it didn't get passed, that they were going to make a mandatory that all boaters on the water had a course in boating safety. That kind of fell through, which I'm sorry to see happen. But the good news is this. The Coast Guard Auxiliary, every month, the fourth Saturday of each month, at the Sheriff's Office on Avenue G, which is 3635 Avenue G Northwest, we hold a boating course. It's an 8.5-hour course, and when you get done and completed the course, I will put your paperwork in to get the boater's education card for the state of Florida. You will not have to even deal with that little issue. I will take care of it. And the other thing is this. If you come down to the boat dock, down at the boat ramp across from the Amtrak station, we're there the third Saturday of each month. We will, for no charge, inspect your boat. We will look at it. I'm the nicest guy you can find because I won't flip a dime on you. I won't call the cops, and I'll give you a report of what's wrong with your boat before the sheriff catches up with you, or FWC, or the Winter Haven Police. You got your choice over here. Some other places you don't get that many choices, but you got your choice. The thing is this, we would rather see you make that boat repair than to put the money into a ticket and then make the boat repair. So we're in the phone book, we're on the internet. If you want a boating safety course, then give me a call. The other thing is this, let me go away with a thought for anybody that's paying insurance on their boat each year. If you take the boating safety course, most insurance companies will give you a 10% rebate off your insurance policy per year. So 1 year will pay the cost of that class, and you'll benefit for a long period of time with that card. I'd like to thank the mayor, the council, and all those that are here, and the residents of Winter Haven. Thank you.
Gil, if we could get a picture with you, we'd appreciate it. I think this is the 8th one we have, so we'll see how the group has aged over time.
Alright, we're gonna take two. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. One more. Perfect, thank you.
Mayor and Commissioners, we're going to put two presentations together at this point. It is National Public Works Week this month, and we will also hear from the American Public Works Association regarding a significant accomplishment of your Public Works team. So at this point, I'm going to ask Brittany Hart, our Director of Public Works, and members of her team that are, if she so chooses to come forward, and MJ Carnevale, Deputy City Manager, will present this item.
Make sure there's no stragglers in the back there. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Winter Haven. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals from state and local governments and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, solid waste systems, natural resources, fleet, water utilities, and other infrastructure essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Winter Haven to gain knowledge of and to maintain a progressive interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the American Public Works Association has celebrated the annual National Public Works Week since 1960. Now therefore, Nathaniel J. Birdsong Jr., Mayor of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, does hereby proclaim May 19th through May 25th, 2024 as National Public Works Week in the City of Winter Haven, and urges all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our health, safety, and quality of life. In witness whereof, he has hereunto set his hand and caused the seal of the City of Winter Haven, Florida to be affixed this 13th day of May, 2024. Nathaniel J. Birdsong Jr., Mayor. Vanessa Castillo attest.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. I'd like to take this opportunity to express our gratitude to the City Commission and the City Administration for recognizing our Public Works team as we kick off our Public Works Week celebrations. This year's theme is Advancing Quality of Life for All, which truly resonates with our commitment to enriching the lives of everyone in Winter Haven through exceptional service. Many may not realize the significant impact that Public Works plays in their daily lives. When you drove here tonight, did you stop to think about who maintains the roads that you are on? That's the Streets and Drainage team, and they keep the roads, the signs, the sidewalks, and more in good shape for all. The beautiful chain of lakes we love, our natural resources team works diligently to preserve them for future generations. Solid waste ensures that your trash is collected every week, whether you're at home or running a business. And in the background, our fleet division keeps each of these operations running smoothly by maintaining our vehicles and equipment and allowing all city teams to provide essential services promptly when the community should need them. Our recent accreditation from the American Public Works Association is a testament to our commitment to excellence, and I'm very proud of our team for achieving this milestone and using it to motivate them to keep raising the bar. I would like to again thank you for your continuous support and recognition of our team's contributions, and together we will continue to advance the quality of life for all within Winter Haven.
So, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, we have with us this evening Mr. Robert Garland, Regional Director of the American Public Works Association. Brittany, if you want to bring your staff over to the side, and we'll let Mr. Garland speak from the podium to address him, and then we'll get a photo with all.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, residents of Winter Haven. For the record, my name again is Robert Garland. I have the privilege of serving on the National Board of Directors for the American Public Works Association, or APWA, and also I had the privilege of serving as the past president of the Florida chapter of APWA, and I truly appreciate the city's active participation in our association. It is my honor to recognize the achievements of your Public Works Department in receiving APWA accreditation. I think we all just heard what the Public Works Department does, but what we don't realize, these are the dedicated frontline workers that typically work behind the scenes quietly to maintain the quality of life for the residents. They don't typically brag about themselves, and that's why I'm here today, is to brag about your Public Works Department. I would also like to thank you, members of the Commission, for your support of the accreditation process. It demonstrates your commitment to the city staff and also your commitment to the residents of Winter Haven to provide higher levels of service for your residents while maintaining affordable user rates. Now, accreditation, it's a achievement that recognizes commitment of the city and your Public Works Department to continuously look for improvements in the processes and services that they provide your residents and taxpayers. Accreditation, once received, recognizes that your policies and procedures align with internationally best practices. Let me repeat that, internationally best practices. The benefits to the department and to the city include increased efficiency, improved processes, succession planning, which I think we could all appreciate in today's marketplace, and customer satisfaction. It's not an easy process. I think I heard today this process started back in 2018, I believe. And initially, the department performs a self-evaluation of their policies and procedures and compare that against, again, recognized best practices. Then they go through a self-improvement phase where they improve the policies and procedures to bring them up to speed with best practices. Finally, we bring a team of independent third-party reviewers to review the policies. And this year, we had a team of evaluators consisting of experienced public works professionals from Illinois and Wisconsin to review 277 of the Public Works Department's practices to confirm your compliance with best practices. I'm honored to report that over 99% of your revised policies and procedures met these standards. That's exceptional. So following the recommendation of the evaluation team, the Accreditation Council for APWA granted full accreditation to the city's Public Works Department. Now, this milestone places the city in a distinguished group of cities. Let me put this in perspective for you. There are over 23,000 municipalities throughout North America. There are only 207 accredited agencies. That places your Public Works Department in the top 99.99 percentile of North America. Quite an achievement. And to brag on Florida, there are actually 31 agencies within the state of Florida. But I would like to extend my congratulations to the director, Brittany Hart, and also a shout out to the accreditation manager. I think Tyler Williams started the process and handed off to Jocelyn Davis, who gets to do the reaccreditation, which I think is due in 4 years. So you got to get started now, right? And as your staff will agree, it's not an easy process, but as you can see the smiles on their faces, the benefits are definitely worth it. So on behalf of the APWA National Board of Directors, I would like to recognize the City of Winter Haven, Director Brittany Hart, and the entire Public Works Department for this outstanding achievement. Congratulations on a well-done job, a job well done.
So Mayor and Commissioners, if we could have the team join you at the dais and, oh look, Brittany gets her own bling.
That's usually summer here. You just gotta have it though.
All right, right here on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. One more. Right. You want to do a clock too for the proclamation? Okay. Photo op night, guys.
Get accredited, get all kinds of photos.
Okay. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. Spin around. Good job, guys.
Mayor and Commissioners, that's a pretty awesome accomplishment, and I would be remiss if I didn't point out that it was noted this process began in 2018 under the, at that time, the leadership and direction of Deputy City Manager MJ Carnevale. So I certainly want to make sure that he's recognized in that process for carrying it up to last summer and handing it off. So. Our final proclamation presentation this evening will be for Police Week, and I'm proud to hand this one off to Assistant City Manager for Public Safety, Charlie Bird.
Thank you, sir. Chief Brannon, Deputy Chief Monroe, and Captain Nunner, if you come up to the podium, please. And anybody else that you might have with you. So the proclamation reads, whereas law enforcement agencies play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms which have been guaranteed by the Constitution to every American citizen, and whereas it is important that people throughout our community know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of law enforcement agencies, and that members recognize their duty to serve the people of the community by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence or disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. And whereas law enforcement agencies unceasingly provide a vital public service, and whereas the City Commission has designated the week of May 12th through May 18th, 2024 as Police Week in recognition of the contribution law enforcement officers have made to our civilization through their dedicated and selfless efforts in enforcing our laws, and has also designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of the federal, state, and municipal peace officers who have been killed or disabled in the line of duty. And now, therefore, Nathaniel J. Birdsong, Jr., Mayor of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, do hereby call upon the people of Winter Haven to observe the week of May 12th through 18th, 2024 as Police Week in the City of Winter Haven, which all of our citizens may join in commemorating police officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to the responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to this community, and in so doing have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. In witness whereof, he has hereunto set his hand and caused the seal of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, to be affixed this 13th day of May, 2024. Nathaniel J. Birdsong, Jr., Mayor, and Vanessa Castillo, City Clerk. Just a few things about Police Week and Police Memorial Week. This is recognized throughout the nation, even in Washington, D.C. at the National Memorial, and it's really about paying special recognition to the police officers that have given their life, given everything to protecting their community. They get up every morning and put on their uniforms that you see, and they go out and they don't know if they're going to go home to their family members. Recently, the Polk County Sheriff's Office had several deputies that were shot. Thank God they survived. We've lost 2 in the City of Winter Haven with Gordon Stotts and Johnny Patterson Jr. Just recently, as this weekend, an Ohio PD officer who was engaged to get married, a young officer, was ambushed and killed. The statistics for 2024 so far, just in this year, is 58 officers lost in the line of duty, and that's way too many. But appreciate you guys recognizing this. And Chief Brandon, if you have anything to say.
No, I just want to say thank you for the proclamation and the support that the commission, other members of the city team, and the citizens have given us over the years. You know, every week in March, we have our, for Johnny Patterson, and y'all are always attending for that. And just recently, we had the Polk County's Law Enforcement Memorial. And unfortunately, yes, that list is too long, longer than it needs to be. But we do appreciate all the support we get from y'all and the city of Winter Haven. Thank you.
Commissioners, as the members of our team come forward for their photo, I'll also point out that they just recently also went through their accreditation, which is a reaccreditation for the Winter Haven Police Department, and they have been recognized and will appear before that reaccreditation board in July. In, I believe in North Carolina, they'll be traveling to officially be reaccredited by CALEA.
All right, I count of 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. Perfect.
We have no developments of note. Commissioners, you have the minutes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve the April 17th, April 22nd meeting minutes.
Thank you. I will now close the commission meeting and open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to these minutes may do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. We open the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposers by the same sign. Hearing none, the minutes are adopted. Comments from the audience? Have one person that has signed up. Marshall, I think this is DeWinton. Did I say it right? Would you come forward? You have 5 minutes. State your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, I've never done this before. I'm for pickleball. As you all well probably know, it's a growing sport game, and we all love it that do play it. We have 4 courts over here at the tennis center. That's not nearly enough. We've got anywhere from 30 to 40 people at any given time, and you do the math. You got to wait anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes to play a game. And we do what we can. We score, rally score sometimes, and we do go to 9 score, and we take 4 on and 4 off just to save time and so everybody can play. I really don't know what else to say. I've heard that you guys are looking into venues for this, but that's all I know. I don't know where at or what you're looking at or anything else. But I see empty buildings and empty lots everywhere around the town, and I'm just thinking that something should be done to help us out a little bit, because it is a growing sport, and it's a lot of young people, kids are playing now, and that's all I got to say. Thank you.
We need her name and address.
Thank you. I didn't hear you.
Her name and address for the record.
Oh, could you give us your name and address for the record, please? Just say your name and address.
Marcia Newton,
What's your address?
4419 Limewood Street, Winter Haven, 33880.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no one else that signed up. However, if there's someone that would like to speak, may do so at this time by stating your name and address for the record. You have 5 minutes.
Yes, thank you, members of the commission, for giving me this opportunity to address you this evening. My name is Father Andrew Doan. I am the pastor of the Solid Rock Church here in Winter Haven. I've been a pastor here for over 30 years. I love Winter Haven. And just a privilege to speak with you this morning is awesome, and I don't take it lightly. Let me first say that I'd like you to know that I, as an individual, and everybody that I represent, we love every man, woman, and child, and especially everyone in this community. I desire to be and to try to act in ways that are always inclusive of all people. God himself says he loves the world and gives everyone eternal life, all who turn to him in faith and believing his word and who seek to follow his precepts. God himself is very interested in diversity, as we see in his word. I'm here tonight to ask the commission, and you, Mayor Birdsong in particular, not to issue this year a proclamation, nor any subsequent years, that June or any month of the year would be recognized as Gay Pride Month. I believe the majority of people who live here in Winter Haven would not be in favor of the commission proclaiming such a stand. And in fact, the Polk County last year chose not to make a proclamation, the Polk County Commission. I believe making such a proclamation contributes to the disunity of the community, a greater division, and greater unrest. 2 weeks from today, we will celebrate Memorial Day, when we give thanks for those who have paid the ultimate price that they could have paid with their lives for the freedom that we enjoy today. We pause and give them thanks and thank God for them for one day. For one day. On July 4th, we will celebrate Independence Day, and we remember and give thanks for so many who gave their lives, their fortunes, their sacred honor for the freedom that we enjoy today. We pause and thank them for the independence that they've won for us. We pause for one day. One day. On November 11th, we'll do something very similar, thanking the veterans that signed on the dotted line and said, I will give even my life to preserve the freedom of this country. And we thank them. And many of them came back with incredible injuries that maimed them for the rest of their lives and changed the quality of their life forever. We thank them for one day. One day. Even the proclamation that was just done here a moment ago for the police that do put their lives on the line right here in our own community. We acknowledge them and we thank them for one week. For 1 week. To promote an activity and a lifestyle that God's word has nothing really good to say about it at all, we accept all people, including those who embrace the LGBTQ plus lifestyle, and we do treat them with respect. But we do not need to promote a lifestyle by issuing a proclamation by the City Commission that June or any other month of the year or any week or a day of the year should be proclaimed as Pride Month, day, or year. You know, we heard the pastor just a few moments ago ask God's blessing. I've been invited to give invocations here many times and always ask God's blessing. I bet it would happen virtually every invocation. But to ask for God's blessing and then very clearly take steps that go against his revealed word, his inspired, inerrant word, he will not bless. He will not bless. So therefore, Mr. Mayor and members of the commission, I respectfully ask that, request that if you have been asked or if you should be asked to promote, to proclaim June month or a week or a day as LGBTQ plus Pride month, day, or year, that you would also respectfully decline to make such proclamation. I thank you for your time, and I do always ask for and pray for God's blessing on Winter Haven. Thank you, sir. God bless
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the commission? All right, we'll move on. Ordinance is up.
You have one.
Oh.
Oh,
Are they coming up?
sorry, I thought they were coming to the podium.
Oh. All right, ordinance is second reading, which read by title only, only O-2418. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-24-18, an ordinance amending Chapter 21 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, by rezoning a portion of a parcel from single-family residential-small lot R-2 zoning district to multi-family residential-low-density R-3 zoning district, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. The general location: the eastern portion of the parcel, generally located east of the intersection of Recker Highway and 21st Street Southwest. The area covered by this request is 8.8 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, Eric Labby, our Director of Economic Opportunity and Community Investment, will give a high-level overview of this request.
Yes, sir. Mayor, Commissioners, this is second reading. Blue Sky Communities is a petitioner that requests the city rezone a portion of a parcel from residential small lot R2 zoning district to multifamily residential low-density R3 zoning district. It is approximately 8.8 acres. The western portion of the same parcel is designated as Commercial Highway C3. The petitioner proposes to develop a multifamily residential project. The maximum density is 15 units per acre. This is an 88-unit increase over the existing R2 zoning. The surrounding uses include Stonebridge Villas, single-family attached subdivision that's currently developed at 10.6 units per acre, Stonebridge single-family detached subdivision, CSX railroad tracks to the east, vacant property zoned R2 to the north, and vacant property zoned C3 to the west. There is substantial infrastructure in place to service the project. You have two tables in your fact sheet that demonstrate the difference between R2 and R3. There's adequate capacity within all infrastructure to support the maximum development potential of the subject property. As with all developments in the city, final concurrency determination for supporting public infrastructure will be made prior to final site plan approval. This is consistent with the future land use, traditional neighborhood area. All public notification was met. Planning Commission at its April 2nd, 2024 regular meeting voted to recommend approval of this request. There were 3 members of the public who spoke. Staff's recommendation is that City Commission approve ordinance O-2418. We'll stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Commissioners.
Mayor, move to approve O-2418, ordinance O-2418 in public hearing.
Thank you. I will now close the City Commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this ordinance may do so at this time by coming forward and stating your name and address for the record. You have 5 minutes.
Kim Davis, 354 Terra Nova Boulevard, Winter Haven, Florida, 33884. Is this 2-story? What's the maximum multifamily this is going to be? Did it say?
Maximum height in this district is 4 stories up to 52 feet.
So the schools in this area in Inwood are struggling. They're very old schools. I know that this is, according to, we're going to make sure that the infrastructure and everything is in place. But I mean, being a resident and having several listings in this area, this is a really struggling area, and we keep approving growth in these areas. And allegedly, we're looking at and confirming that there's enough infrastructure, water, and schools, but the schools are not ahead of the growth. So I just want to emphasize to please make sure there's actually adequate schooling and classrooms and teachers and bus drivers. Hello, we have a major shortage of bus drivers right now before we approve more stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'll close the public hearing. We open the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd just like to say, I agree with some of what you said, Kim. Concurrency is always a challenge when we are approving these things, and if this were not blue sky, I'd have a real problem with it. But this is blue, with this much density, but this is blue sky, and blue sky has a track record of what they're going to do out there, consistent with some of the goals that we set as a commission for workforce and affordable housing. And because of that, I think it's a good fit, but otherwise, maybe not. But that's all I want to say. It's because this is blue sky. I have a lot of confidence in them, and I appreciate what they're doing for Winter Haven and for this county. They're filling a real need that we have, and I wish them well. So that's it.
I'll just add, I've studied this pretty deeply as well, and I fully support this project. And it's not just concurrency, but it's adjacent concurrency as well, which the state of Florida's statute really kind of puts us into a corner on approving or declining things based upon school capacities. Adjacent concurrency is a pet peeve of mine, and that's a coffee talk conversation one morning. I won't go into that tangent here, but it's detrimental to our schools, in my opinion, and something that our state legislatures really need to take a look at the state level to do away with adjacent concurrency requirements when it comes to our school system. But I concur that Blue Sky is doing a phenomenal job. They're providing a much-needed tool in the tool chest when it comes to affordability of local housing. And I hope that this project, and I expect it to be equal to and greater than the other projects that they've put forth to date.
Thank you. Anyone else? All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by the same sign. Hearing none, the ordinance O-2418 passes. O-2424, which read by title only, city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-24-24, an ordinance of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, amending ordinance number O-23-54 regarding appropriation of funds for defraying expenses of the municipal government of the city of Winter Haven for the fiscal year commencing October 1, 2023, providing for severability and providing for an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. So are we going to have C.J. Scott to?
Sure.
All right.
Since you went that direction, I'll follow suit.
We're having a little difficulty with our monitor. Due to the current condition of the police department's roof, it has been determined that a roof replacement is necessary. Repairs have been made over the years to address leaks, but the structural condition has declined. There is a concern that a hurricane or strong storm could cause the roof to fail. The cost of the roof replacement was not budgeted in the current fiscal year. As such, a budget amendment is required to address this additional expenditure. The estimated cost of the replacement is $292,390. Due to the robust interest earnings, a budget amendment to recognize these additional revenue earnings may offset the cost of the roof replacement.
All right, thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I approve for ordinance 24 on second reading and public hearing.
Thank you. I will now close the city commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this ordinance may do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. We open the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposes by the same sign. Hearing none. Ordinance O-2424 passes. Commissioners, you have the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
motion to approve the consent agenda as a whole.
thank you. I will now close the commission meeting and open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to any item on the consent agenda may do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by the same sign. Hearing none, the ordinance passes. The consent agenda passes. Okay. Resolutions. Resolution R-2424, would you read by title only, city attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution R-24-24, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, endorsing the membership apportionment plan for the Polk Transportation Planning Organization and authorizing the mayor to execute an amended interlocal agreement and providing for an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, city.
Mr. Mayor and
Manager.
Commissioners, Eric Labby will present Resolution R-2424 pertaining to the Transportation Planning Organization.
Thank you.
Sir, Mayor, Commissioners, membership on the Polk County TPO was established by an interlocal agreement between the county and the 15 municipalities and was last adopted in 2014. With population growth in Polk County as reflected in the 2020 census, the need to reapportion TPO voting membership is required. In October 2023, the Polk TPO prepared and adopted a membership apportionment plan, which studied the distribution of population in Polk County. This was submitted to Florida Department of Transportation and the Governor's Office for approval. Based on the plan, the total number of voting members on the Polk TPO board will be increased from 19 to 23, and Winter Haven's voting representation will increase from 2 to 3 permanent members. The city's new voting member will be seated following adoption of the amended TPO, Polk TPO interlocal agreement by Polk County and all of the municipalities. There is no financial impact, and staff does recommend that City Commission approve Resolution R-2424 and authorize the mayor and other appropriate city officials and the city manager or his designee to take all necessary actions thereto.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve Resolution R-24-24.
Thank you. I will now close the commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to R-2424 may do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by the same sign. Hearing none. Resolution R-2424 passes. R-2425, would you read by title only, city attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution R-24-25, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, affirmatively accepting the conveyance of those utility easements from Pros Winter Haven Venture LP, a Delaware limited partnership, to the City of Winter Haven, Florida, as more particularly described in that easement executed by Pros Winter Haven Venture LP, a Delaware limited partnership, to the City of Winter Haven, Florida, and recorded on April 3rd, 2024, in Official Records Book 13062, pages 738 through 742, Public Records of Polk County, Florida, and for an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. City manager?
Again, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, Resolution R-2425 will be presented by Eric Labby.
Yes, sir, Mayor, Commissioners. As part of the aforementioned project, which is a multifamily project known as PROS Cypress Point Apartments, certain water infrastructure related to fire protection was required to allow for city installation, operation, and maintenance of this infrastructure on private property. An easement is required. On March 18th, 2024, the developer submitted an executed easement document for the city to the city for review and acceptance. City staff recorded the easement in the official records of Polk County, Florida. Prior to recording, the easement was reviewed by City Engineering Services Division and was found to be adequate for acceptance by the City Commission. Staff does recommend we approve Resolution R-2425, accepting the easement from Pros Winter Haven Ventures LP.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve Resolution R-2425.
Thank you. I will now close the commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this resolution may do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by the same sign. Hearing none, Resolution R 2425 passes. Ordinance's first reading. The second reading will be held on May 28th. City Attorney, would you read ordinance O 2425 by title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-24-25, an ordinance extending the corporate limits of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, so as to include therein additional territory lying contiguous and adjacent to the present boundaries of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, describing said additional territory, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing an effective date. General location, a parcel generally located north of Highway 540 West, east of King Road, and south of Cross Tower Drive. The area covered by this request is 1.19 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, Cypress Southeast LLC is requesting the commission annex one parcel totaling 1.19 plus or minus acres. They're seeking annexation for the purpose of developing the subject property, which is shown in red on your screen. Current taxable value of this subject parcel is approximately $21,629. Annual tax revenue will be approximately $143. Annual revenue is expected upon the development, or additional revenue is expected upon development of the property. Staff recommends the City Commission move ordinance O-24-25 to second reading.
Thank you. All right, the second reading will be on May 28th. However, if there's anyone that would like to address this ordinance, you may do so at this time. All right, O-24-26, would you read by title only, City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-24-26, an ordinance of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, amending ordinance number O-24-21 regarding appropriation of funds for defraying expenses of the municipal government of the City of Winter Haven for the fiscal year commencing October 1, 2023, providing for severability and providing for an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, on August 8th of this year, the Commission approved ordinance O-24-21, which transferred $5,386,019 of the General Fund's 2023 surplus to the 2021 Construction Fund, earmarking $1,600,642 of that amount to be dedicated to fund the Lake Conine project, and the remaining balance of $3.785 million to fund other capital projects to be determined at a later date. As you understand, the Winter Haven Recreation and Cultural Center is under final design and ready to move forward with construction. This proposed new building will feature a multi-use gymnasium, zero-grade swimming pool, splash pad, new playground, outdoor sport court, and all amenities of an upgraded fitness center, community meeting space, library technology area with Wi-Fi, business support area, catering kitchen, offices, restroom, and additional storage. As the city continues to experience construction costs exceeding the appropriated funds, such is also the case with the Winter Haven Recreation and Cultural Center, that increase can be attributed to three major categories: site work factors, which were finalized towards the final plan development and bidding, continued inflation in the cost of materials and services, and certain finishes and specifications placed within the bid by the design team prior to the guaranteed maximum price development. The city does have a contract with Collage Design and Construction Group to provide CMAR services for this project. They had proposed a guaranteed maximum price of $19.995 million, taking into account the related interior costs such as furniture, fixture, and equipment, and all associated contingencies, provides a total project cost of $21.342 million. Current appropriated funds for the project reflect a balance of $18,072,033, providing a delta or shortfall of $3.27 million. Staff recommends funding from the Library Impact Fund in the amount of $150,000 to support the library services, and funding transferred from the 2021 Construction Fund to the 2015 Construction Fund in the amount of $3,120,270 to support the final costs. The transfer of funds from the 2021 Construction Fund provides a remaining available surplus balance of $1,962,703 for other projects as needed, to include the potential acquisition of the historic Ritz Theater. Staff recommends the commission approve ordinance O2426, approving the transfer of $3,120,270 from the 2021 construction fund balance to the 2015 construction projects fund, and authorizing the city manager and designee to take other necessary actions related thereto. This item is on first reading and is recommended to move forward for second reading.
Thank you. We will have the second reading on May 28th. However, if there is anyone that would like to speak to this ordinance, you may do so at this time. All right, thank you. Ordinance O2428, which read by title only, city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-24-28, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, authorizing the city manager or his designee to opt in or opt out of any declared Polk County Fire Department burn bans within the municipal limits of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, and as more particularly set forth in this ordinance. Repealing all ordinances and resolutions in conflict herewith, providing for severability, the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. City manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, I'm going to speak to this one more so than read the fact sheet. The way that burn bans work within Polk County, according to their ordinance 08-015, which was later amended in 2014, the county issues burn bans that apply to the unincorporated area and those municipalities in which they have jurisdictional authority. It does not just arbitrarily or without approval from the cities apply to local municipalities. You may recall that over the years, we have issued our own burn bans. However, there is within the revised ordinance or the amended ordinance 08-015 an opportunity whereby the City Commission of Winter Haven can authorize my office or a designee of my office to automatically opt in when Polk County issues a burn ban. That allows us to do so quickly if need be, but it does not require us to do so. If the city commission or if we felt from our authorities in the fire service felt that we needed to do something different or take a different approach to that, we could always still do that, but this gives us a fast track that if the conditions merit, we can go ahead and do a burn ban without having to do our own. So we're recommending that this take place. I'll tell you that the county is considering, the Board of County Commissioners will consider the issuance of a burn ban. I believe at their meeting tomorrow. I'm looking to John Murphy, they meet tomorrow morning, is that correct? And it's on their agenda. We would not be able to opt into it at this point until we go through our second reading, but we do recommend that this authority be issued to the city manager's office for future issuance. Once we have done our second reading on this, we can opt into it. If it is, and we review this, myself, Charlie Bird, Sonny Emery, and members of the fire department to determine what's happening with weather conditions and drought conditions in Winter Haven. It is based upon fire science and atmospheric conditions. I will jokingly say that if you're concerned about rain, start talking about burn bans or start planning to pave roads or projects, and the rain will come. As we had discussion on both of those matters this morning during staff meeting, and within a few hours, we had rain in our skies. So maybe that's the solution going forward, but all the same, as we look to dry conditions that we're experiencing now, we feel it's appropriate to move this to second reading.
Yes, you all need to meet tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I think we have a paving project, a pretty significant one at the airport later this week, and without fail, Mr. Mayor, if we start planning to pave, it will rain. It's just Murphy's Law, I guess, I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you. The second reading will be on May 28th. However, if there's anyone that would like to. Yes, Commissioner Dantzler.
Quick question. I have no problem with us opting in, but the language says opt in or opt out. So is that what that means? Is if the county passes a burn ban and we don't want to participate in it, our residents could potentially burn and.
We would opt out from an authority standpoint. So, give you an example. The burn ban that they're getting ready to do right now, they had just sent, and I see Sonny's in the back, they had sent, Sonny Emery is the chair of the Polk County Fire Chiefs. I assume that's the right moniker title. So the county issues out to Sunny a request to see which of those municipalities want to participate, so when they craft their ordinance or their burn ban, they can actually list them in there. The reality is, the only people that can say we want to or we don't want to participate in that are those that have passed an ordinance similar to this. So in the future, should this pass, when the county sends out that notice, we're getting ready to issue a burn ban, would you like to participate? The city can legitimately answer that question and say, yes, we would or we would not. As it stands right now, we don't have the authority to do that without coming before the commission every time.
But we could opt out,
We
and the
could.
county still opts in.
Yep.
So our people could have a fire right on the county line, and it could create potential
And I'll tell you,
problems.
Commissioner Dancer, you know, that I think that when that comes into play, there may be certain conditions that we want to consider that aren't factored within a burn ban, and rather than opt into theirs, issue our own. It's really at our discretion, but I think that what we have found more times than not is that our burn ban mirrors what the county is doing. It's the same conditions throughout, so it just makes the most sense to more efficiently and expeditiously have the opportunity to opt in or opt out. If we felt that we didn't need to opt in, then we certainly would just say, we're not going to participate in the burn ban at this point.
It's improbable that we'd ever opt out, but if by some chance,
There is chance, and I think,
the language will address it.
I think the last time we considered this, city attorney and members of my team and myself discussed this, I think the last time that this came up, we made a decision, the board, the commission made a decision in concert with the city management at the time, that we would do our own, and it tied back to 4th of July activities and restrictions that were, I believe, more strict or stringent than what we were looking for.
It's okay. I'm just,
Seemed like we had to have our fireworks down at the Chain Lakes.
Mhm.
I remember that. Yeah. No problem. I just want a clarification, that's all.
Yes, sir.
I'm clear. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. We have no new business.
Can I ask two
Yes.
things under the new business category?
Oh, of
Is
course.
that all right? So our pickleballers left. They almost made it. They're out in the hall, but maybe they'll hear this. Is there any update on when we might see a presentation on location for pickleball courts?
Let Julie Adams respond to that, our Parks and Recreation and Culture Director.
They're speeding. You left too early.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Yes, we are in the process now of, we've done some feasibility work on pickleball. We understand the demand, that this has been a sport that's been growing in popularity for many years. And in the foresight that you all had when planning the tennis complex, you did include some some pickleball courts with those amenities, which we're very thankful for. The feasibility work is being conducted now to see where it could best fit in the current amenity schedule and potential amenity schedules in the future. As you may or may not know, we are undergoing a master plan process. Our consultants were just in town a couple of weeks ago doing some evaluations on our current park spaces and beyond. And with the results of those evaluations and through our master plan process, we will get a better idea of how we can serve the community on many different levels, including pickleball, into the future. And so we want to wait to get those results to identify where the best placement would be, where the best service would be to the community, and of course, keeping in mind the fact that our pickleball nation out there is very strong.
I'd add to that, Mayor Pro Tem Yates, I think that, you know, when we look at the demand for all of the recreation facilities, whether it's youth athletic fields, pickleball, dog parks, all the different aspects, it becomes a matter of really trying to figure out how do you prioritize those expenses over each other. And it may be, can you build more facilities? Can you incorporate facilities and, enhanced amenities into existing facilities? Can you do indoor activity with pickleball as well by dedicating specific time within existing facilities? As you know, we do a pretty significant pickleball competition at the field house that I think just happened within the last 60 days, thereabout.
But it's biannual now.
So I think there's some opportunities in the interim while we're trying to identify where, what, how best to meet that need on the long-term permanent basis. How do you in the interim period bridge the demand gap to make sure that we can accommodate that? And I think that certainly Julie and her team are creative enough to accomplish that. And I'd say within the last year, we've had a number of conversations on where's the ideal location for this, how do you best do it, and there's still some effort that needs to occur in that regard. But it is noted as a priority within the community, and it's just a question of how best do we get there. And I think the master plan will give us a good insight into that.
Thank you. Appreciate that. The other question I had was, we passed 11A this evening, and I know Commissioner Mercer had made some interest inquiries on potentially being that third member. So when do we need to vote on that, or is that a discussion we want to have tonight?
My understanding, and Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, I think once all the cities have signed off on that interlocal agreement, then it is signed off by the TPO as a whole, and at that point, it would come back to us to make the official appointment. So I will need to affirm, I'm assuming, which is never good from this role, but that those that are already seated representatives would remain, and we just need to appoint the third. And if I think Commissioner Mercer is the alternate at present time, that if she was designated as a permanent seated member, an official seated member, a voting member, that you would also need to appoint a alternate at that time. But I'm not sure if we have a time frame for when that's likely to come back, or when the cities were required to
I don't have a
respond.
time frame, but we can reach out to TPO staff and see if they
I just
have a
wasn't
time
sure.
frame in mind.
I just wasn't sure if we needed to look at it tonight or to have that. in
No
motion or
action
not.
on it tonight. I think they need to get all of the municipalities to sign the interlocal agreement so the TPO can sign it, since we're all parties to the agreement.
Thanks.
Is that it?
Yep.
All right. Go now down to Commissioner's liaison reports. Commissioner Mercer.
Oh, okay. I attended the retirement celebration and farewell for H. Elroy Tyler, City of Haines City. He was the longest-serving commissioner. I think he has about 28 or some years. I don't remember exactly how many years that was. But I do remember that he told a story that when Haines City, when I was there, he told this story about Haines City when they were in financial crisis and needed to go to Ridge League, the Florida League of Cities, that they went there for funding. And the finance person who was over that, they made him get on the finance committee, and he had to attend that for a year, just so that, you just don't come and get the money. You got to put the work into it. So he knows how it was to overcome some of their financial difficulties as a city. So, and I thought that was, pretty neat, that the solution is that you have to invest in it too. So, and I had also attended the police pension board and the firefighters pension board. Some of that will be coming, I guess, back. Our costs kind of have gone up a little bit. Salaries have increased. They're hiring new people, so they look for a little increase in payments. So, for that, you have to make more to cover all of that. I also attended the Garden Club beautification. They had 43 awards to businesses, to banks, to churches, to the healthcare professionals, and to residential entrances, and also to unique. And of course, our city manager presented, and we had our mayor there, and Bob Gernert provided the information on the Garden Club and their history, and also how they come to work with the city. Another one that I attended was the Winter Haven Library Sensory Garden. It was designed to cater to the well-being, the learning, and the coping needs of children and adults, and with autism, sensory impairments, Alzheimer's, and dementia, so it fits all age groups. I also attended the Winter Haven Risk Management, and that's in good hands. So I attended the City Works Expo at the Ritz on Thursday, and Friday I also attended in between. I took a meeting the Florida Housing Coalition, which is required training that you have to do. They expect additional funding this year, but I'd like to say on the training, if you miss 3 trainings in a row, they limit your funding. You may not even be available to get that funding. So. And then we did the ribbon cutting downtown, Winter Haven Sidewalk Cafe District, and a lot of people were there, also the mayor and the commissioners. And I want to say congratulations to the Public Works Department for their accreditation, and that's a very prestigious award and lots of hard work on that. It takes years to get to get accredited, and so it's a commitment, and so thank you for your service to the police department and to the city and its residents, and your dedication. Congratulations for your reaccreditation and for keeping it all these years. I remember when you first got it, so, and to keep it going, and it definitely shows your commitment to the citizens and the residents. So thank you very much. That's it.
Commissioner Dantzler?
Okay, played in the Hartford Winter Haven Golf Tournament. Commissioner Yates was there too. We had a good time. Hartford Winter Haven is one of our important vendors in this community, and they had a good tournament out there. TDC had an arts meeting, and we also had a traditional TDC meeting. I will say the TDC Arts Committee, we meet and we have a very stringent process on how we distribute the money, probably $1 million this year. And we always keep track on what organizations get the most money, who applies for the most, and there's always a debate on the committee about the professional outfits like the Bach Towers that have professional grant writers and the smaller arts organizations that don't, how much money goes to each of them. Well, I have to admit, this year, the person or the organization that applied for the most money was Theater Winter Haven. And it had to do primarily because they were also applying for the Ritz. So that was one of the questions I was going to ask T tonight, if you knew anything about the Ritz. I'll let you speak to that at the time, but Dan was busy. He submitted many requests to the TDC, and everybody was favorable with his application, so I could see Theater Winter Haven getting a lot of money this year from the county. So also went to Grace Lutheran and did a speech. They asked me to come do a speech and talk about the city and beekeeping. So I've never done that one before. So that one was for the senior group, the senior lunch group, and I have to say they were more interested in the bees than the city. So they asked a lot more questions about beekeeping. So, and then also the sensory garden. I will tell you, if you haven't been down to the library to view that sensory garden, it is really neat. They're growing vegetables down there, so they probably wouldn't care if you picked a tomato and took it home with you. But if it's really something that we need to talk up, because people that have special needs and sensory issues, you can feel things and touch things. If you haven't been down there, it's a cool place to go. Also, in terms of pickleball, I was going to comment on pickleball just real quick. You know, I play tennis every Saturday morning, and the tennis courts are full too. Normally with tennis, you can sign up, and we do this as tennis. We're used to setting up our own games, and you can get 2 hours on the courts, and then you get kicked off. Well, you have to voluntarily leave. Oftentimes, you don't have to leave because there's nobody waiting, but more and more, we have to leave now because the next group comes on at 10 o'clock. But you do get 2 hours. Pickleball has started instituting that, and they give their people an hour. And even that, is not enough. And it's not a Saturday goes by that I'm not down there when pickleball is coming over to grab me and saying, when are we going to get some more courts? What are we going to do? How are we going to do this? So can't come quick enough. I know you're working on it, but it is a real need. There's people standing around down there all over the place at certain times, and it's just, and we, as a commission, depending on whether we want to have pickleball courts manned or not manned, will determine, I think, on where we end up putting this place, because I have played pickleball, like my son plays pickleball in California, and it's a non-manned facility. They just go out and play, and there's nobody collecting money or anything like that. Whereas down here, they collect money, and it's manned, and we have people kind of watching it. So it can go either way. But if it has to be manned, then we have to additional staffing, and that's something we have to consider. Whereas if it's non-manned, or it's not, people sitting there, then it's a little bit more feasible, I think. So, also we also attended the Butterfly Garden, the beautification at the Garden Club, and I want to thank Tracy for sitting on that housing thing out while I was in Utah. You took my place, so I want to give you a shout out and thank you so much for doing that for me. And finally, the National League of Cities, the conference that I went to in Salt Lake City. This is the little book that was our agenda, and I will tell you, the way the Florida Municipal Insurance Trust, we're set up in pools, and Florida has its own pool. Every state has their own pool. And there were 40 out of 50 states at this conference, and we have an annual conference, and we have all kinds of neat speakers and things that we go through. Really, really, riveting things like improving performance and minimizing risk, exploring humanity in the workplace for a framework for success, those kind of things. Those are our topics. But last year, the big thing was AI and how it was going to affect, and also computers, computer hacking, and that's still a big concern. But what the big concern was this year, and it's something that Florida's going to, and Winter Haven's going to have to deal with, is this homeless camping, this encampment process. And it's just been in front of the Supreme Court. I sat in on an hour conference on it. They just went to the Supreme Court. We're waiting for the Supreme Court to come out and make a ruling on camping. And it's a really tough situation. And Florida has passed a law recently, and the governor has signed it. And it's going to go live this year, and we can start getting sued in January of next year if we've not prepared for this. It all hinges on this Supreme Court. The Supreme Court decision that's going to come down probably in June or July. We had a presentation from one of the people that presented at the Supreme Court, so he was fascinating to tell us the process and how it went through. He has no way of knowing how they're going to fall on this thing. He feels like Florida passed their law to maybe get ahead of this, but we are going to have to deal with this as the city, and we're going to have to provide space for campers if we don't get ahead of this. And anybody can sue us. It doesn't have to just be somebody that may be aggrieved. It can be peace, or it could be a citizen. Anybody in the world can come and file suit against us if we have not provided for camping space for homeless people. And this is serious stuff, and everybody in the whole country is worried about this, and it was a big deal, which we were talking about. And so I'm mentioning, John, I know you're aware of this,
Yes,
this
sir.
new law, and I know you have probably had meetings and contingency plans, but it's on my radar now. So it's something that we're going to have to start talking about. And there's even restrictions. Hopefully, maybe the county becomes the controlling interest, and we run things through the county. We don't know. There's a lot of gray area, which I think the legislator may have done that on purpose, so we have a little bit of wiggle room, I don't know. But hopefully the county will be the one that will be driving this, and we can run things through the county, I don't know. But it's coming, and we're going to have to be aware of it. So, and then the last thing, the evolving threat. This is the other thing. This goes back to the problem with us getting our cities getting hacked, and they're called mega. What are they called? Nuclear verdicts. How to guard yourself against nuclear verdicts, and these are verdicts that can really, really hurt us. Talking multi-million dollars, and they gave us all kinds of ways to protect it. And I took a lot of notes that I'll pass on the hip, but they had all these experts on there from like University of North Carolina and these smart people, and they were telling us what to do to how to protect ourselves against nuclear lawsuits, and it's a concern. It's a concern, and it's one of those type of things. Every year you come back and you're scared, and this was this was no different, because we were all sitting in these conferences with our eyes wide open, like thinking, "Oh my goodness, what are we going to do?" And so it wasn't a waste of time. It was really a good conference. If anybody wants to read some of the topics, I went to most of the meetings, so you can do that if you want. But there, I'm done.
So, Mayor, if I could respond to the questions that Commissioner had. Ritz Theater, so we have a draft agreement, purchase and sale agreement that has been forwarded to the legal counsel for the Ritz Theater to offer comment. Typical process we go through. We are doing some of the due diligence now on that building, and I anticipate pending the timing of that document coming back from the legal counsel for the Ritz to be presented to the commission for consideration, either at your next meeting in May or perhaps your first meeting in June. It's just a matter of timing of getting everything resolved in there. We are also working with Theater Winter Haven to establish I'll say a new use agreement. That's something that's been needed for quite some time with respect to their use of Chain of Lakes Park, and the way that I have drafted that, and it is with the city attorney's office for review at this point, allows us, it provides a pathway for contemplation of additional venues, of which the Ritz would be one. So I think that everything is lined up. It's just getting through make sure all the i's are dotted and the t's are crossed. We are working with Theater Winter Haven, Julie Adams and her team, to pursue some grant funding that we've been made aware is available upon the city's acquisition of the Ritz Theater that we could go through. It's not through the TDC, it's actually through, I believe, the state, and it's a grant that Mr. Chesnica and his team apply for, but they can only do it for one of the facilities, so we would do it for the other. So that is all moving forward. Similar note, Theater Winter Haven was just awarded, as I understand it, another significant statewide, I believe it is, theater competition or showcase. This is not the one that they have been doing at Chain of Lakes. This is another one that would be coming to our area, I believe, in January or February of 2025. So the activation of that Ritz space is no joke. I mean, it's happening even at this early point of trying to line things up. So what we would hope would happen looks like it's coming to fruition. Commissioner Nasser, on the camping and homelessness, I'm not as familiar certainly with the Supreme Court aspect of that, and it's something we'll need to delve a little deeper into. But I can tell you, in speaking with our team at the Florida League of Cities, as I understand it, and the city attorney can opine if he feels necessary here, the requirement to provide the accommodated space, the spaces that would have utilities and restrooms and running water and the wraparound mental health services, is we have been educated on that by the league. That actually becomes a requirement of the county, not of the municipalities. And so if there is that type of establishment to be created, that would fall to the counties within the state to take the lead in that regard. However, you are correct in the provisions that allow for suit to be filed against a municipality or a county whereby you're allowing the homeless activity to occur within the public space. And I would opine that our action to pass an ordinance prohibiting individuals from sitting, lying, laying within sidewalks and in public spaces and in the public realm gives us the authority to enforce that. And we need to be prepared to do so and take action to do so. And that's one of the things that I just, even as early as this morning, had conversation with our team of being more proactive in that regard, of identifying what can we do and how best do we do that. There's a couple of things that are happening in our neck of the woods that I think contribute to it. One, you may have noticed there is an aggressive effort being led by the county, and I fully endorse and support what they're doing with the wooded areas on the south side of Lake Lulu to address homeless encampments in that area and really tackling the trash and debris that is in there that has collected over the years. If you come into Winter Haven from the south side, from Bartow coming up 17, you'll see that area before you cross the canal at Lake Lulu, Lake Ship has been, they are doing a lot of work in there. There is also a significant amount of work that has already taken place on North 17. On the west side of US 17 as you approach Lake Alfred, the old Miracle Toyota area, that has all been undercut, that wooded area, to address a lot of homeless activity that had occurred in there. I don't know for a fact that that's why they did it, but that certainly has had an impact on that. And I think that stirs about, okay, if we can't be there, where do we go? And so we need to be more proactive in anticipating where do folks that have been traditionally housing themselves in those wooded areas, how do we address that? So I think that there's still a lot to be seen.
What they told us is that the counties are going to be looking to the cities to come up with these locations. That's what the league girl, they were saying, hey, yeah, the county's going to drive this thing, but they're going to go to the cities and say, you guys are on this too. You guys got to help us find a spot, and they're going to lean on us to help them. So whether that's true or not, but they think that's how it's going to play out.
Yeah, so I think that ends up coming back to the elected body to say, do you want to take that on or not? I don't think you're obligated to, but we have a great relationship with our county partners, and I think that we'll continue to work closely with them. And really it comes down to trying to find the best ways to house people. And I think this commission has done an outstanding job of demonstrating a leadership role and stepping up to the plate and being assertive in trying to invest dollars where we can. Certainly trying to keep people housed is the best option because it's a lot cheaper to keep people housed than it is to rehouse them. But there's a lot of service that's needed within the community from beyond the elected body here, our nonprofits, really trying to formulate the best partnerships to make those things a reality.
That's it for me.
Commissioner Donaldson?
Mr. Mayor, I want to say kudos to the Public Works. That's simply outstanding. Very impressive. I really appreciate all that they do. People who work behind the scenes oftentimes are those unsung heroes and sheroes. And so I think it's certainly befitting of the city to give that recognition and to have it nationally known, to know that we rank among some of the best. So my hat's off to all of you for that. I was able to, we shared in the Pope Vision Town Hall, HIP and his crew came talk about broadband or lack of broadband for many areas of our community. We know that there was some federal funding that was available that actually lowered the cost for many, but now that money is not available for many people. So we're trying to educate people about how to get connected so that we know that every aspect of society now is certainly dependent upon being connected in some manner, some way, whether it's children, all of our children, of course, being connected for the schoolwork and other things that they do. So it was really helpful to know that our city and our tech team came out to really address that real significant issue and talk about what Winter Haven is doing, also to make citizens aware of what's going on. Also was able to attend the retirement of Mr. Roy Tyler. Roy is an institution by himself. I've known him a long time. He's an amazing person and did a great job for the city of Haines City. Planning Commission was able to attend, of course, the Planning Commission. They're doing a great job just to see in advance what is happening in our city, what is coming to our city is certainly eye-opening and wonderful to see. Also was able to attend the City Works Expo. This is my first opportunity to attend. Was very impressed just with the overall presentation. It was just very informative. I just enjoyed the entire 2 days, and was at the end that we culminated that with the ribbon cutting of the Sidewalk Cafe. It was really, really nice, and I just saw the pictures tonight, and they're very, very special. Also, between that, had to run over to Advent Health for the new emergency room that they facility that they have just cut the ribbon for, and Mayor Birdsong spoke there as well, and beautiful facility. In my profession, I've been in a lot of emergency rooms over the years, and I was very impressed because that's state of the art. And they even have space for the children, Legoland, they were there, and it was just really nice to see that kind of expansion in our community for persons who need that kind of care, and also even dealing with some trauma as well. So very, very impressive to see that. Also, I did attend the Nehemiah Action Peace, and Nehemiah Action, many of you are aware that I've been a part of Peace and worked with Peace, Ecumenical Action Council for Empowerment, and issue of pre-arrest diversion, and it was a great gathering. About almost 1,000 people assembled across the county to address the issue of pre-arrest diversion, and of course, there's still ongoing dialogue with some of our city and city officials to address this important issue, because it is a challenge for those who commit minor offenses and get caught up in that situation and suffer the dire consequences of that. And that's really the heart of what that is really all about, is how can we keep people from just being chewed up all the time in the system and caught up, and oftentimes they're poor, they are brown and black, and disproportionately, and that is something that many people are concerned about, and I think that we ought to take serious. So again, we're part of this, trying to see that happen in our cities, because we think it makes a better place for people to live and to enjoy life in this city called Winter Haven. Finally, I do want to ask a question, because I came in, as they say, I'm the new kid on the block. I came in at a time that there was some discussion on this issue, and I just need some clarification, because I know there was a presentation here tonight and by a gentleman that I know very well over the years, and concerning proclamation. And I guess my question is the proclamation guidelines, and I guess relative to the day or how many days and how they are determined, so that there's clarity with regards to that. And I heard the impassioned plea that he shared concerning that. I would submit that, I think you have to be careful sometimes. I think recognizing that as a community, he prefaced that as well, that we live in a time of, so many divisions and separating ourselves and excluding people from the process and being recognized and acknowledged for who they are, period. And whether I agree with it or not, that's really not the issue. The fact that you have a right to be recognized as a citizen and as a human being. and I will defend that at every opportunity that I have. My personal beliefs, and I said this because somebody asked me, what are you going to be called? You going to be called Reverend, or are you going to be called Commissioner? I said, when I'm here, I'm the Commissioner. I pastor the First Missionary Baptist Church, but I don't pastor Winter Haven. I come here to do the bidding and the work that I was elected to do, and not necessarily come here and try to force my beliefs or ideas upon people that may not agree with me. So I want to be equitable, fair, and just in what we do, that everyone has a fair shot, everyone has an equal opportunity to be known and be respected and appreciated for who they are. So I just wanted clarity with regards to, the day or how long these things are. I think there was a concern about, how long we acknowledge proclamations. I know they vary. I haven't really got a clear understanding of what that is, and perhaps this may not be the time to do it, but perhaps we can get some information that would be helpful.
Commissioner Dawson, I'll give you a brief explanation, and then City Attorney and I can follow up in further detail. But the requests, the proclamations that are presented by the City Commission, actually by the mayor is who signs off on the proclamations. It is a kind of a ceremonial function of the mayor's role to issue proclamations. Those come in as requests to either the city manager's office or to the city clerk's office. Some of those do come internally. As an example, we did Police Week this week. I believe that originated out of either Assistant City Manager Byrd or Chief Brandon, or combined. The Public Works recognition, that's going to come from your Public Works team. Safe boating that you did this evening, that actually comes from the Coast Guard Auxiliary, reaches out to request that. The vast majority of your proclamations that don't tie to a specific city service or function are coming from within the community. Irish American Heritage Month is one that always stands out because of the gentleman who comes and speaks to us in Gaelic. That comes from that group, makes that request. The duration, or is it a day or a week or a month, that is not something that we decide at our level. That is within the request, and it typically follows some national platform that group may be involved in. If it's in recognition of, an autism awareness, it may be from a national autism awareness campaign that says we are going to designate nationally this. I'll tell you that in the form of Parks and Recreation, the one that I know probably the best is that comes from the National Recreation and Park Association to designate the month of July is National Recreation and Parks Month. So the duration of those is not something that is established or determined by the commission. That comes in with the request. Does that provide some clarity there?
Yeah, it does, it does. Question though, would there be any exclusion of any group or any persons
I mean,
making a request?
to elaborate, that's a ceremonial thing the mayor does per our charter.
I see.
So it's up to the mayor and whoever the mayor happens to be. And so I represent some municipalities that they don't recognize. The mayor makes a decision
I see.
to not present something or to present something. Just depends on the mayor.
So
It's
within
a
his-
ceremonial thing. It's not an official action of the city commission. Although you do come down and en masse present, it is technically a ceremonial item that is, per our charter, devolved on the mayor.
And we don't vote on it. It's not something that we take an action on.
You don't vote?
Yeah.
No, it's not part of any official action. It's just ceremonial. But it has the, when you come down, it lends itself to a, but as you noted tonight, all the proclamations are the mayor.
Right.
And I would note also that there are proclamations that are given at times, and certainly Mayor Birdsong, or more recently Mayor Dancer may opine on this and offer further insight, but proclamations that are issued on behalf of the mayor for significant individuals who have passed or who celebrate 100-year birthdays and things of that nature that are, that's, as the attorney said, that's part of the ceremonial process and protocols of the mayor's role.
Well, and just because you've done something one year doesn't mean you have to do it the next year. I mean, and just because someone asks you to do something doesn't mean you have to do it. That's really more of it's a call. It's a ceremonial duty that is reposed on the authority of the mayor.
From my point of view, there were several of them that I passed on as mayor. They would come to me, and for a long time, I tried to get them all sent around to everybody and get everybody to weigh in, but it just didn't really ever work. So I just assumed that it was something that the mayor has to embrace and has to be comfortable with. But I was long uncomfortable with the mayor making that decision without everybody weighing in. But for a couple of years, we tried to send them around and get everybody to weigh in, and nobody would, and it just never really worked. So I just decided to go ahead and embrace that role, and I think that goes with the territory. The mayor has to do it, and there's, like I said, there was times that I passed on a couple of them. I just, it wasn't that they were bad or good. I just didn't feel like they raised to the level of a proclamation for the city of Winter Haven. It's not that they were controversial. It's just several of them were, to me, they were just not to that point where they needed us to act on it. But I could just discuss them, but it was never on anything other than that. I just didn't feel like they were big enough for us to deal with. But I mean, I was long uncomfortable with it when I was mayor and how to handle it, but I don't know the answer, because none of us want to sit around here and talk about these things because it's just time consuming, and you have to read them all, and then you have to have a debate, and, we don't really want to do that, and, it's sort of, I think that goes with the territory of being the man in the middle there, so.
I will say this, though, the mayor will address this too, but I wanted to at least mention this, that great public servant, former police officer here in our city, Gay Henry, was his classmate, so I'll give him opportunity to share a little bit about him, but he passed away today. And I was able to be there. It was kind of ironic that I was able to be in his room this morning and did not know. I'd been there Saturday, but I was also there this morning. And but Gay was an exceptional individual. When I came to Winter Haven, he was serving the police department when I became chaplain, and I just have nothing but wonderful things to say about him, and certainly for his wonderful memory and his family. Heart goes out to them. So with that, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
My turn? All right, I'm going to do a quick rundown because it's been a lot of good conversation tonight, but I just want to do a quick rundown, and there's two items that I have a challenge tonight. So happy to answer any questions about any of these things that I attended, but obviously airport advisory meeting, state of the county, our DC advocation with our federal legislature up there was a great trip, a lot of good work done. Attended the downtown CRA meeting, portion of the Breeze groundbreaking, got there a little late. Attended the City of Winter Haven review of nonprofits meeting, the first meeting earlier this week. Downtown ribbon cutting for the street cafes. And I'll just say, everything that I hear, everything that I read is contradictory to what I actually, hear. And going back to statements on social media, this isn't going to work, it's not going to work. It is working because the restaurants are turning over faster the street tables than the inside tables. Everybody wants to sit outside. Now, are they don't want to sit outside in July and August? No, probably not. But I think the majority of the year, there's a lot of nights that are going to be very comfortable to sit out there, and people want to sit out there at those tables. So I think that's great for our city. I would say, fire chief's gone, I wish we could bring back the lighting.
We're working on it.
Okay.
We're working on it.
That's a big one. So now what I really want to talk about, City Works. So two things stuck out at me as ideas, and I was like, how can we make these Winter Haven-esque? T's already looking at me like, oh, here we go. So the first one is these mice. The mice.
Mice on Main?
The mice on Main. So I thought.
Who talked about mice? Peter?
I thought, wouldn't it be cool? We don't need any more mice on Main. We've gotten rid of the majority of the mice on Main. Don't need any more. What we could benefit from is historical Easter eggs throughout our city. Meaning, maybe one is an orange. Maybe one is a little skier. Maybe one is a little baseball player. Maybe one is, God forbid, a little gator. Things that are historical references to the city of Winter Haven. And we could cast these little bronze figurines and put them throughout Winter Haven. I thought, wouldn't that be cool? So Commissioner Dantzler gets his trees. I'm advocating for my little statues.
So just for the benefit of those who may not be as familiar, Mice on Main is a campaign in Greenville, South Carolina, small brass mice that are hidden throughout that follow a storyline that get tourists to travel and try and scavenger hunt these mice on Main Street. And it's world renowned at this point. But I don't disagree with you, Commissioner Yates. I think there's probably something cool that can happen there. Maybe that's something to pass along to our Cultural Arts Advisory Committee and others to delve into how best to do something like that.
I was just about to say, that's an art committee. Let the artists come up with something like that.
Well, the good thing is it's not like a big 10-foot swan that's sitting out in the middle of the street. It's little Easter eggs, and you gotta go out and you gotta hunt for them and find them. But if you find them, then there's a QR code attached or a map attached.
How about sand skinks on Central?
Hey, well, there's an idea. I mean, all ideas are on the table. But I think it's something that could just blossom into really big and also at the same time be historical references to our community and how much it has changed over the years, so we can kind of remember what was once. I played basketball at the Cultural Center. I mean, maybe a little basketball player over there, I think.
Painted on rocks, and
What?
put the rocks there.
Yeah.
Little orange dome.
Yeah, little bronze orange dome or something like that.
A little Indian.
I think, so that's my challenge, is I think that would just be really cool and something that would stick around for a long, long, long time past any of us, so. The other thing I was gonna say, and this was really cool, and I think y'all will probably agree, but the rain signage, so when it rains, there's messaging that appears on the sidewalks. We need to do that. That's cool.
And then it'll never rain again.
Yeah,
See,
I
that's
know,
what
right?
happens. We just got a paving project going so we can get some rain.
I thought one cool, and I don't know if it could be this fine of an item, but like could you make it a QR code? Could you, could it, I don't know if it would work or not, but we could probably try it but different things that are happening around the community or facts that might be, that we want to share with, again, the history of our community, I think would be really cool to put that in and around and in the spots where if it rains, it's safe to kind of take a look and stand. So obviously nothing in the streets, but in the sidewalks and stuff like that would be really cool. So, but other than that, City Works, I think, was another great event, and a lot of good knowledge was shared, and it's really cool to be able to do that in downtown Winter Haven. So.
Mayor Pro Tem Yates, you're turning a little artsy on us all of a sudden.
Look out!
Kind of like
That
a
it?
good place to be.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be brief. I did attend the retirement for Roy Tyler, Winter Haven General Pension, and there was a discussion at the end about reopening the old pension. So that's all I'm gonna say. I didn't comment one way or the other, but that was some questions about that. I did a taping that will be played to the Winter Haven and Lake Region grads at the graduation. Hopefully y'all won't laugh at me. Attended the Gardens Club Beautification Awards. Hopefully we will get some money from our DC trip, hopefully. Talking about proclamations, I presented a proclamation at Spring Haven, a week or so ago. And basically I thought I was only going to be there for 10 minutes, and I was there for 2 hours. Because what they did, the proclamation, was at the end.
Welcome to my world.
And so I had to stick around the whole time. So I was there for 2 hours, and that was the Friday of the week that we went to DC. So proclamation. And incidentally, I'll just let you all know that there has already been a request for that proclamation that was discussed this evening. So, attended the Breeze Apartment Foundation and groundbreaking, and I made the comment that as long as I've been on this commission, I've only done 2 of those where there was some type of celebration between the groundbreaking and the ribbon cutting. At Advent Health, we went out and signed, I did the groundbreaking, and then we signed the beam that's going to be covered today. I looked for it, but I couldn't see it because it was covered when I went for the ribbon cutting, which brings me to that. I went to the ribbon cutting, and that is a beautiful facility. CityWorks Expo, attended that. And I really enjoyed the sidewalk ribbon cutting, and to actually sit outside and have lunch afterwards. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. And finally, I want to thank Deputy City Manager Byrd for the explorers that came and helped the CDC paint 3 senior citizen houses and 1 veteran house. We had over 45 volunteers, and we started at about 8 o'clock. All of the houses were finished, and we were having lunch by 11:45 at the CDC. So, thank you, Chief. Well, I keep calling you Chief, but that just sticks in my mind, just like you were calling me Nate, and I heard you. I picked up on that. I saw what you were doing. So you see, that's what I'm doing to you. And Katrina, I was calling Katrina in D.C., Amanda, and I'm saying, oh my goodness, they can say that I need to retire along with Roy Tyler. So, but at any rate, that's it. All right, what's next?
City Attorney.
City Attorney,
Nothing this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
City Manager?
Just a couple quick things, if I could, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, yeah.
For the benefit of those that didn't join us in Washington DC, we had, I think, a very productive 2 full days in DC. We traveled really over the course of 4 days because you can't get there easily, but we did meet in person with every one of our congressional members in the House representing Polk County, Franklin, Lee, Soto, and Webster. We actually did meet with Senator Rick Scott, which was a surprise. Usually we're just with staff. And we met with the lead staff for Senator Rubio's office. We also met with representatives from the EPA and the FAA regarding PFAS with the EPA and other projects, and then our remote tower initiative and some initiatives that we have with FAA. I think it was a very productive trip. I think we're well represented in DC through the lobbying firm that we have. For the benefit of Commissioners Mercer, Dawson, and Dantzler, your colleagues that traveled did you justice, and I think served the citizens of Winter Haven extremely well in their dialogue with the congressional members. City Works, I do want to comment on that. It is always awesome to have that program here on an annual basis when we can have it. It has missed a year or two over the time, but it's refreshing, I think, for us to see people that come from the outside into Winter Haven to speak on innovative, creative, dynamic approaches to things. And while we may not be doing every single thing that comes across that stage, I'm sure that you recognize that most everything they talked about were the things that we are doing. When we talk about, what makes small towns cool and desirable, there's a lot of those things that showed up on the screen that we were already doing. When they talk about parking requirements for downtown, you'll recall that we don't have parking requirements for downtown like some cities do. When they talk about housing opportunities, your Affordable Housing Advisory Committee and Eric Labby's team are constantly pursuing new ways to do things. So the fact that Mayor Pro Tem Yates came away with some art projects that you'd like to see us implement, those are the fun things that we do want to do, but we have been very busy tackling the serious side of what came across there. I tell you, to be able to, I didn't think I was going to get a word in edgewise sharing a stage with Rick Baker and Peter Kageyama, but, and I say this kind of tongue-in-cheek, but with all seriousness, when Peter, who I've known for a number of years, and Rick, who certainly is becoming a fixture here in Winter Haven, when they take an interest in some place like Winter Haven, Florida, and that's not to speak poorly of who we are, because we're an exceptional community, but when you have people that have such prominence and have been engaged in such major things that say, we want to be a part of what's happening in Winter Haven, that is a testament that we are doing a lot of really great things very well. So that is a compliment back to the commission that sits here today and those that sat there before to make some hard decisions and take on some bleeding edge stuff. So thank you for doing so.
Deputy City Manager?
Near and dear to my heart, just want to say I'm exceptionally proud of our Public Works team for achieving accreditation for the first time, and I think that demonstrates what I've known is that they are on par with the best organizations in the country. And congratulations to our PD team for getting their reaccreditation.
Deputy City Clerk?
Nothing, sir.
And I just want to say that Gay Henry was my high school classmate. We both graduated in 1964.
I remember, Kay.
And I think he made the rank of captain. He made major? He went to major, okay. Of the Winter Haven Police Department, he did at least one tour of duty in Iraq. And so he was
coach too? Football coach?
He's a pastor, wasn't he?
I don't
For
know.
some reason I remember him coaching.
Yes, he did coach.
He did pastor.
He got his doctorate degree at 17 years old. Yes. So, man, he was a good friend, and he is gone. So I would definitely would like a proclamation to present resolution at his service.
We will see that the city clerk's office helps prepare that.
Okay?
Is there any word of
No,
arrangements?
I don't know when it will be, but I will know. All right. Emergency matters not received for the agenda. Motion to adjourn. Stand adjourned.